Alright, first and foremost, I would like to give all the honors and the praises and all the glory belongs to Yahweh by Sham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Mahavaka Kwadash. Name of the Heavenly Father is Yahweh. Son's name is Yahweh Shai, who I reverence, and honors to the apostles that are in the Holy Spirit and to the hopeful elect across the globe and to the few, very few brothers and sisters listening and also learning in the hopes of being saved within these last days. All right, because we're living in the last days of the last days. That's why so much people are selling out, because we're living in the last days of the last days. This lesson is going to be based on the lamb, right, versus the beast. So you may be asking, what's the beast today? When you go into Revelation 13, right, it clearly defines what the beast is, right? When you go into Revelation 13 and 16, right, and he calls it all, both small, great, rich. We can go into it. Okay. Start at Revelation 13. You get straight to the point. Right? Go to verse 4. And they worship the dragon, which gave power unto the beast. Right? The dragon. Right? The dragon represents the nation, which is Esau, which gave power, right, unto the beast. Okay. And his seat and his great authority. And I saw of one of his heads, as it were, wounded to death. And his deadly wound was healed, and all the world wondered after the beast. So it says, the head was wounded. During what? The Dark Ages, right? That's when the head was wounded. But Roman Empire became revived again, which we have today. EU, NATO, which is what the structure of what? The beast. And it says all the world wondered after the beast. This is where we have to pay attention. So all the world is wondering after the beast, right? Well, the elect are not, but the world is. So when we see these certain things, the paradigm, certain things changing in terms of people just looking at their phones, right? Like zombies, like they're under some kind of MK Ultra. That's them after the beast. That's their minds. They're being controlled by the beast, like completely. Right? This thing's happening in real time. This ain't a joke. Right? And it says Baba Kasha, Baba Kasha. I know I'm a bit all over the place, but still. And it says, you know what? I should have started from the top. We're gonna get to it anyway. And they worship the dragon, right? Which gave power unto the beast. And they worship the beast, saying, who is like the beast? Who is like unto the beast? It's a great power structure. As I'm doing this video right now, I've just seen, hey, that wasn't an ordinary plane, right? I know the difference between the ordinary planes where you take your flight on holidays and a jet plane and a military plane, right? So it's already started, right? And it says, see, there's one, right? You hear it whistling. Hey, bro, we're in that time. We are in that time, right? And they worship the beast, saying, who is like unto the beast? Who is able to make war with him? So even the people of this world are like, look, we can't fight them. You might as well join them. So I do understand why people, they're like, well, we just got to join the other side. But somebody has to have integrity, right? That's a military plane, right? You hear how that's whistling, right? All through the atmosphere, right? You imagine what that's doing to the birds, right? And it's pushing that demonic negative noise in the atmosphere, right? But that's what the devil does, okay? But anyway, let's stay on point. And it says, who is like unto the beast? Who is able to make war with him? Because the beast is the infrastructure. It's NATO, it's EU, League of Nations. The beast is the infrastructure around you. The NHS, part of the beast. What else? The fire brigade, part of the beast. Your school systems, part of the beast. Right? It's a structure. So people are saying, well, that's why I understand why people say good luck. When they say that to me, good luck, mate. Because it's like, what, you gonna take on this whole structure? No. It's the words that are gonna take down the structure, and Yahweh Shai, which is the lamb. Right? I understand why people sell out. They're like, no, bro, I'm not taking that chance. And it was given unto him a mouth speaking great things and blasphemies, and power was given unto him to continue 42 months. And he opened his mouth in blasphemy against the Most High, to blaspheme his name and his tabernacle. Right? This shows you this is an anti-Mashiach society, and them that dwell in the heaven. And it was given unto him to make war with the saints. Pay attention. It says it was given unto him to make war against the saints. Who were the saints? You so-called Negroes, Hispanics, and Indianos. Right? And it says, and to overcome them. Right? And to power was given unto him of all kindreds and tongues and nations. Right? And those that dwell upon the earth shall worship him whose names are not written in the book of life of the Lamb. So those that are not written in the book of life, right, that part of that first resurrection, they're going to bow down to the beast out of fear from the foundation of the world. And if any man have an ear, let him hear. Jump straight to verse 10. If he that leadeth captivity must go into captivity, here is the patience and faith of the saints. He that killed with a sword must be killed with a sword, here is the patience of faith of the saints. And I beheld another beast coming out of the earth, and he had two horns like a lamb, and spake as a dragon. And you have your different what democracy, and you have what else? Democracy. What? Hold on. Let me slow down. You have your Republicans, and what's the other one? Conservatives. It's different in the UK. They say it different. In the UK, they call it what conservative, and what liberal. I forgot what they call it in the US. Right? What is it? Democratic. And another one, I forgot what they call it, but you got both of the sides. That's part of the beast system. It's part of the infrastructure. Red, blue, red, right? Okay. And it says, and he exerciseth all the power of the first beast before him, right? And causeth all the earth and them that dwell therein to worship the first beast, right? Whose deadly wound was healed, right? Revived during what? I think 1600s. And he doeth great wonders, so that he maketh fire to come down from heaven and earth in the sight of men. I forgot what date that was. 1900s, right? Yugoslavia, when the first bomb was dropped, right? And it says, and deceiveth them that dwell, yeah, on the earth by means of what? Those miracles. Even with them planes that you see, you could say I'm speculating, but you do know they don't need pilots. You know that, right? You do know your planes that they don't need pilots. That can all be done by simulation. That can all be done by a remote. Most things can be done by remote now, right? Check out neural remote monitoring as well, right? So technology, I can see why people are worshiping this man like he's a god when he ain't, right? And the Jedi mind trick still ain't working. Okay. And it says, which he had power to do in the sight of the beast, saying to them that dwell on the earth that they should make an image of the beast. So what's the image that they're making to the beast? It's the infrastructure, right? No cash, right? Cards, phone, right? Scan, right? That's the checkout, scan check. That's part of that infrastructure, right? Oysters, right? Soon it's going to be, you know what, the MOTB. Okay, so you can see it all around us. right? You can see people are being controlled by technology. That's how you know we're in the end times. Some of the stuff, I can't believe what I'm seeing. I can't believe what I'm seeing. And it says, Baba Kasha, saying to them that dwell on the earth, they shall make an image to the beasts which had the womb. We went into that. By a sword and did live. And he gave power to give life unto the image of the beast, right? But the image of the beast should both speak and cause that as many as will not worship the image of the beast should both be killed. So it should speak, right? Because you were going to have people that would push your executive order to say, look, it has to be done. And Obama, he pushed that executive order, you know, the whole targeting, so-called targeting. He's the one that pushed that executive order. He's the one that got it, put it in place. So thank him. He's the one that ordered what? Guillotines, right? Over 500,000 guillotines. And not just guillotines, coffins as well. Why do you think they've got that? For those that don't comply. And that's why it says, as many as much would not worship the image of the beast should both be killed. Not all. Just some. Right? And he calls if all, both small, great, rich. I know this scripture of heart. Free bond to receive a mark in their right hand or in their forehead. So you know what that mark is? I'm gonna say this so my video don't get cut. The MOTB, the RFID, it stands for radio frequency identification. That's exactly what it is. And that's how they're able to track all movements. That's why it's called radio frequency. So it acts off the frequency that's within your resonance, your body. Alright? And that's how it's able to track you. It uses resonance. Okay? Uses your resonance, it uses your frequency. And that's how it's able to track. So this is what they want. Now, do they have technology that links in with that right now? Yes. Right? Well, what do you think the 5G is? What do you think the V2K is? What do you think all those things are? But that's not 100% accurate. They actually want it in you. Right? This device. But I want to get to the main point. Because really this lesson's on the lamb and the beast. But I'm just getting into all of it. Lord willing. Right? And he calls of all, both small, great, rich, free bond to receive a mark in the right. This is the end agenda. This is what they want. Right? This is what they want. We're talking about trillionaires now. Right? They already have the earth in their hands. Now what do they want? They want complete rulership. They want the people with the device in them. Right? Esau right now, what he can do the little smart dust where you have nano dust in your skin, but you can get rid of that. They want it in your hand or your head. They want cyborgs. They want people that can't think. That's why if you have any reasoning and you have these scriptures, of course you're a threat. They don't want you teaching the scriptures. They don't want you to have a so-called free mind of your own. Don't you get it? They want everybody to walk around like cyborgs. This is some heavy. This is some heavy technology, right? And they're testing it out now, and that's why I'm seeing 5G towers all over the gaff, because that's that infrastructure being set up, right? And soon it's going to be like, well, if you don't have MOTB, then you're going to be off the grid. And really, you're not going to be off the grid because they're going to be able to see wherever you are anyway. They're going to be able to find you, right? It's going to be a heavy time. And no man might buy or sell. No transactions. They call it the Internet of Things, right? You do know as I'm doing this video, all right, if you have satellites, you have 5G, well, it's connected. When I'm doing this, it's connecting, right? That's why they call it the Internet of Things. Okay, save that he had the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name. So you're not going to be able to have any transactions. You're going to be labeled void. You're going to be labeled an enemy of the state. Because they're going to question you, well, why don't you want it? Is there something you're hiding? Right? And the COVID that was just a test run. That was just a test run, right? To see how people would react. This is much, much, much more serious. The COVID was a test run. And you see how people reacted to that, right? Anyways. Where was we? So like just a bit tired today. Revelations 13 and 18. Here is wisdom. Let him that have understanding count the number. Because you got to remember, brothers and sisters, we're being hit up by all types of frequencies as well. You know, that's why I always say you have to detox, you have to fast, because we're being hit up by all types of deadly frequencies. Right? That's why you must fast. Okay? And it says, right? And count the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man, and his number is 666. Gives it away. Right? That's that number. 666. The number of the devil. Right? You have coding systems. Well, that's a code. That's their coding system. On the barcodes, left, middle, right, 666. That's how they track their items. It's a barcode. You go into that word, mark in the Greek is charagma. Charagma. You look it up. It says incision. It says stamp. It says imprint. Branded upon horses, right? And it also says a sign of what else? It says a sign of belonging to, like property. That's why you brand something. So Esau wants you branded. This is psychopathic tendencies. He wants you. He wants your being. He wants your soul. This how deep this is. That's what he wants. He wants your inner being. And that's why I always say, brothers, you better keep your essence, because that's what you got, and it'd be a horrible thing to sell your soul. That's all you've got, your soul and your integrity. Don't lose that now. That's what he wants. Right? That's what Esau wants. And no better way for Esau to do it. Right? But by the CHIP. And this thing's going to be implemented. Right? I'm telling you. It's already implemented in certain parts of America. Wisconsin, right? Implemented. Australia, implemented. But it's going to be fully implemented. I'm telling you, everything is going to be controlled. The reason why Esau, he still sends people out your way, because it's not 100% accurate. Even with the frequencies they put, it's not 100% accurate what they've got now. But what they're doing with the CHIP, that's going to be accurate. They're gonna be able to know every single detail. When you went to shit, so like when you took a dump, when you had sex with your woman, when you were itching, okay, everything. When you before when you blink, when you eat, when you're brushing your teeth, right? And the stores, they're hand in hand with it as well. This is what they're setting up. Okay. So, we went to that. Now let's go on to verse. You know what? Let's go to Psalms. Babakasha. Every time I think the lesson's going to go one way, it goes a different way. That's why if you ain't picked a side, you got to pick a side. Right? This man, he wants to be God. This man wants to be, he thinks he's God. He's got a God complex. Right? He's a narc. He's a narcissist. Narcissists have God complexes. They need to be in control. Right? They need to be in control of everything. If they're not in control, they lose their marbles. Right? That's a trait of a narcissist. Right? Because they're really small in the mind. Let's go to Psalm 64 and 6. They search out iniquities. right? That's what they're doing. Searching out iniquities, searching out sins. Oh, they have the info, right? Wait, DNA research, who your father's father is, swabs, all that stuff, right? They have that technology. They've had it for some time, right? And it says they search out iniquity, accomplish a diligent search, both the inward thought of every one of them, and the heart is deep. So yeah, we know they got their neural labs, their data labs, their tracking centers, but goes hand in hand with the military, right? Okay. All they, bro, it's just what do you call it? A supercomputer, right? A supercomputer where they're able to track what movements, right? That's what it is. And they link you up to that computer. What do they link up? Your frequency, right? To that computer, and by them doing that, they're able to manipulate certain things. Let's just put it that way. I'm not going to go into all the intricacies because there's a lot to it, but they're able to do that, and through that they're able to send that signal your way, and you feel it because why? Because it's your frequency. So they mark down your frequency, then they're able to match up that frequency in real time. Okay? It's very sophisticated. Right? Very sophisticated. Okay? And this is what they're doing. And this is just like a test run for the bigger thing. Right? And they will obviously, you may say, well, who's controlling it? Well, the military are controlling it, right? In a base somewhere, whether it is underground or, that's what they're doing. Because all the data has to go to somewhere, and they have what? Data centers, right? So that's what's happening. And not just them, you also have, depending on, you can even have contractors as well that can deal with that as well, engineers. Right? Because somebody has to be controlling the 5G networks, right? Somebody has to be controlling it. So who controls? All right. We're gonna get into it. So who controls the 5G? Who controls these networks? 5G is part of what? Telecommunications, right? And who controls telecommunications? We know you're the elites, but who do they work for? Contractors. They're contractors. And the contractors are what? Engineers, right? So there's your answer. Okay. Very, very complicated. These are billion-dollar industry organizations, right? And you make a phone call, mate, please, just take this 5G down. Nah, they're not going to do that. Who are you to them? Right? Who are you? They laugh at you. Who the fuck are you? Right? It's a part of the grid. It's a part of the system. That's how they're able to tie everybody into the Internet of Things. Right? Unless you take out everything that's smart, all smart devices, get rid of your phone, and that's the only way you escape that. But ultimately, the elect are going to escape it through faith. Right? But this is what's happening. So lucky if I'm rambling. Okay, that's why it says they accomplish a diligent search. This is high-tech stuff. This is high-tech technology, man. Right? Both the inward thought of every one of them and the heart is deep. That's how they're able to synchronize with you as well. Right? You know what? I was going to go into this, the lamb versus the beast, but yeah, this is how they're able to synchronize. How do you think they're able to do that? How do you think they're able to do that? Yes, all right. Yes, it's spiritual. I say 90% of it is spiritual. How do you think they're able to synchronize? Bro, that's done for a computer. That's done for a virtual computer. And if you're in the military, you would know about this, right? Just like in Afghanistan and so forth, They didn't need to actually shoot no weapons, right? They could do all this from a control pad. You know how you're playing a PlayStation and you have Call of Duty? Well, they can do that in real life. In real life, they're able to do that, right? Yeah, it is cowardice, you know, it is, but that's the way of the devil. They're able to do these things. And you ask anybody that's been in the military, SAS, RAF, or any level of the military, they will know about this, right? And I know a little because my grandfather, he was an electrical engineer, right, for the military. So I know a little bit. I'm not no expert, but I know a little bit, right? This is high-tech stuff we're talking about here, right? But we stop there. So yeah, they're making war against Ralam, and that's part of the beast system, right? This is what adds to it, okay? And then it's very, man, it's complex. It's complex. I'm not going to go into all the ins and outs. Maybe we do another lesson on it, all right? But there's negative ions, and there's positive ions, right? Negative ions, what do? They disrupt the calcium level within your body, right? And you have positive ions, all right? But I'm not going to go into all that anyway. I'm not going to go into all that. Now let's go to Revelations. That's why do you understand what you signed up for? Do you understand what you're involved in? You do know when you say Yahweh Shai, you do know what you're doing, right? You do know what you're doing. You're pledging allegiance to Yahweh Shai, but not pledging allegiance to Satan. This is Satan's kingdom. Does Satan have technology? Yes, he does. He controls the airwaves. The prince of the air. Better start wising up. Oh, the devil loves technology. He loves it, right? He loves technology. So even when we're using this technology, basically, he's able to gather information on you through that, right? Because he can't be everywhere at once. So that's what helps the devil as well. Information, intel, right? Recommendations of what you like, what you watch. So everything's being written down, what you watch, what you like, to give you a more idea of who you are, okay? Let's go to Revelations 18. I want to speak about Yahweh Shai now. Now we went into the techie part of it. Remember, it is spiritual, because even technology is spiritual within itself, right? Even electricity is spiritual within itself. Electricity is energy, right? It's energy, okay? Energy. You want to talk about electromagnetic waves? That's energy. That's a field. That's why they call it magnetic fields. It's a field. Just how we have a field, we have an aura, right? Man, I'm learning so much. Maybe just a minute. Oh, I better keep quiet. The Masons might come after me. Anyways, come on. Let's go to Revelations. At 19. Here we go. Let us hold on. There's a lot. And a voice came out of the throne. Let's go to verse 5. And a voice came out of the throne, saying, Praise our power, Yahweh by Shem, Yahweh Shai. All ye servants, and ye that fear him, both small and great. And I heard, as it were, a voice of great multitude, as voice of many waters, a loud voice, right? Many waters. And as a voice of mighty thunderings. What's thunder? Thunder's what? Lightning, right? Thunderbolts. It's electricity, right? Okay. Saying hallelujah. Because guess what? The angels They even control what? Certain vowels, elements. Okay? For the Lord power omnipotent reigneth. Let us be glad and rejoice and give honor unto him, Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai. For the marriage of the Lamb is come. The marriage, and one married to Yahweh Shai. And his wife had made herself ready, and to her was granted that she should be arrayed in fine linen. Right? That's why we were cleansing ourselves now. Clean and white, for the fine linen is the righteousness of the saints. Who are the saints? You so-called Negroes, Hispanics, and Indianos. And he saith unto me, right, blessed are they which are called unto the marriage. Right? Supper of the Lamb. The Lamb is Yahweh Shai, by the way. And he saith unto me, these are the true saints of the Most High. Let's get straight to it. Right? And I fell at his feet to worship, and he said unto me, see thou do it not, I am thy fellow servant. We're not supposed to bow down to angels. We're not supposed to bow down to angels, because you have some people that do that. No, they help us out, but we're not supposed to worship them. See thou not, because some people do that. Oh yeah, I've got my beads, I'm worshipping Mary, and we're not supposed to do that. And I am thy fellow servant of thy brethren, have the testimony of Yahweh Shai. Worship the Most High. That's what the angel said to John the Revelator. Don't bow down to me. Worship Yahweh Shai. I'm thy fellow servant. So the angels are also serving us. For the testimony of Yahweh Shai is the spirit of prophecy. And I saw heaven opened, and behold, a white horse. The white horse represents what Yahweh Shai is going to be coming upon, which is the angels. And he that sat upon him was called faithful and true. And in righteousness doth he judge and make war. So Yahweh Shai is coming to judge and make war. Against who? Against this current empire. His eyes were as the flame of fire. And on his head were many crowns. He had a name written that no man knew but he himself. And he was clothed with a vesture dipped in blood. And his name was called the Word of the Most High. And the armies which were in heaven followed him upon white horses. So that gives it away. The armies that were in heaven followed him upon white horses. The angels. Okay. Upon them white horses. Clothed in fine linen and white and clean. And out of his mouth goeth a sharp sword. What's that sword? It's not an actual sword coming out of his mouth. Remember, the scriptures are parabolic. It's the word. That with it should smite the nations. And he shall rule them with a rod of iron. And he treadeth the winepress of the fierce of the wrath of the almighty power. And he have on his vesture and in his thigh a name written, Kings of Kings, Lord of Lords. He has a belt. Alright? And there's more. And I saw an angel standing in the sun. Are you listening? And he cried with a loud voice. So there's even angels that have power over the sun, saying to all the fowls that fly in the midst of heaven, come and gather yourselves together unto the supper of the great power, that ye may eat the flesh of kings and flesh of captains and flesh of mighty men. The flesh of kings, what? And flesh of captains. You don't want to be joining the army now, right? Okay. Well, I'm not telling you to leave, but again, what they call it when you leave. Some people are dishonorable discharge. He went AWOL. That's what they call it. Yeah, dishonorable discharge. Right? And they say, right? And the flesh of horses and rem. Right? Yeah, a lot of you couldn't even cut it in the real military anyway. Let's go to it. And the flesh of the horses of them that sit on them. Right? Both small and great. And I saw the beasts and the kings of the earth and their armies. I saw the beast. The structure. So most people were seeing today, we're serving the beast. And the kings of the earth and their armies gathered together to make war. Let's slow down. The beast, kings of the earth, which would represent the elites and their army. So you do know the elites, they have an army. Who's their army? Who's the army? Huh? Well, NATO is an army for the elites. Right? America army. Whose interest do you think they protect? Well, the the U.S. Army, they protect the Israel. They get their They get their marching orders from the Israelis, right? So again, that's an army of the elites to protect the bankers' interest. Okay, and yeah, they do have a big army. Okay, and it says, and make war against him. Make war against who? Yahweh Shai. That sat on the horse and against his army. So Yahweh Shai's even got an army. So this is what's going to happen. The elites, they read the scriptures because they're so-called Jewish, right? They know who Yahweh Shai is, right? They know who the children of Israel are. Why do you think you have Space Force? They have what, Space Force as well? Because they know about the chariots. They know these things. Watch that movie, The War of the Worlds. You think all these movies are based upon? Yeah, they have a Space Force. You think they just built that Space Force for nothing? They have underground bunkers. And it says, and the beast was taken, and with him the false prophet that wrought miracles. So it says the beast was taken, brought down, and with him the false prophet that wrought miracles. The false prophet that wrought miracles represents the Catholic Church, because they're able to work miracles by spirits of devils, lying spirits, right? Oh yeah, the Catholic Church, they're what? They're part of the beast. They're part of the infrastructure, right? And them that worship his image, these were both cast alive into the lake of fire, burning with brimstone. So those that worship the image of the beast, they were cast into the lake of fire. What's that lake of fire? America, Babylon. I'm imaging this right now. It's gonna be horrible. It's gonna be, all that land's gonna be on fire, right? Into a lake of fire, burning with brimstone, right? Every time I think about that, I always think about the end of Terminator with Sarah O'Connor, when she's knocking on that fence, and the children are in the playground, and she's knocking on the fence, right? And that fire comes down, and her body gets she gets burnt up, and she's still alive while she's holding on to that fence, right? And that's why it says they were both cast alive into the lake of fire and brimstone. You're reading this, you're supposed to be in fear. You're supposed to be in great fear when you read this. Okay? And it says, Babakashah, Babakashah. And the remnant was slain with the sword of him that sat upon the horse, which sword proceeded out of his mouth, right? Out of Yahweh Shai, the word. And all the fowls were filled with their flesh. Excuse me just a minute. Still got a little while longer. Isaiah 31. It's Isaiah 31 and 27. Behold, the name of the Lord Yahweh Shai cometh from far, burning with his anger. Okay? And the burden thereof is heavy. Okay? His lips are full of indignation, wrath, right? Because the Lord's angry. And his tongue as a devouring fire. Okay? And his breath as an overflowing stream. It says his tongue as a devouring fire. So that's what do you think is going to be issue? What do you think is going to issue and come forth from that? Fire. Right? and his breath as an overflowing stream. Water shall reach the midst of the neck to shift the nations with the shift of vanity, and there shall be a bridle in the jaws of the people, causing them to err. Right? So we went to that. Now, let's go to the Apocrypha. And this is basically when all nations stop fighting each other and they all come together with one goal. Alright? I believe it's 2nd Ezra 13 and 13. Let's go to 2nd Ezra 13. And it came to pass after 7 days I dreamed a dream by night. And lo, there arose a wind from the sea, and that it moved all the waves thereof. You know what that wind was? It says from the sea that moved all waves thereof. So that wind from the sea would represent Yahweh Shai, and it moved all the waves thereof, the nations. Okay? And the sea represents the heavens, by the way. Okay? And it says, and I behold, and lo, that man much strong with the thousands of heaven. That man was Yahweh Shai. Right? Wax strong. Not weak. Because you know Yahweh Shai is coming back as an angelic power. And when he turned his countenance to look, all things that trembled that were seen under him, just by him turning his head, all things trembled. That's the power that Yahweh Shai is going to come with. And whensoever the voice went out of his mouth, all they burned that heard his voice. He just commanded, and things start happening. Right? And it says, like as the earth faileth when it faileth the fire, faileth when it faileth the fire. After this I behold, and lo, there was gathered together a multitude of men. Key thing it says is multitude. Alright? So multitude is many. Okay? Multitude of men. Okay? So who's this multitude of men? The armies. The beast. Okay? Out of number. From the four winds of heaven to subdue the man that came out of the sea. Right? From the four winds. To subdue that man that came out of the sea. The sea represents the heavens. So they're going to try to subdue the armies. The armies, they're going to all get together to try to subdue the Messiah. Okay? Verse 6, but I beheld, and lo, he had braved himself a great mountain. This is how it was described by Ezra. As a mountain. Right? Because you couldn't see the end of it. That's how big that chariot was. And flew upon it, and but I would have seen the region or the place. Couldn't see the end of it. Whereout the hill was graven, I could not. And after this I beheld, and lo, all they which were gathered together to subdue him were sore afraid, and yes, to fight. We're talking about troops, military men. But it says they still doth fight. Okay? And now as he saw the violence, okay, of the multitudes that came, he neither lifted up his hand, nor held swords, nor any instrument of war. There's no need to, because remember, he commanded the word. Okay? And he talked about his breath being what? Fire, which is the extension of what he's speaking. Them chariots. Okay? And it says, but only I saw that out he sent out of his mouth, as it had been a blast of fire, which would be what? The extension of Yahweh's glory. Them chariots, which have concentrated, what? Laser beams. Fire. And out of his lips a flaming breath. And out of his tongue he cast out sparks and tempest. Fire, sparks, and tempest. Water all mixed together. What's that going to cause? An explosion. Okay? And they were all mixed together. The blast of the fire, the flaming breath, and the great tempest. And fell with violence upon the multitude which was prepared to fight. It fell upon them. We're talking about the world's armies. And burned up every one, so that a sudden and innumerable multitude, nothing was to be perceived, nothing was recognized. Nothing was recognized, but only dust and the smell of smoke. When I saw this, I was afraid. There was nothing left. We're talking about multitude of armies, just a smell of smoke. And afterward, I saw the same man come down from the mountain and called unto him another peaceable multitude. Right? The mountain represents the chariots, and called a peaceable multitude the elect. And there came much people unto him, whereof some were glad. Right? That would be the elect. And some were sorry, those that didn't repent. Some of them were bound. This is speaking about the elites. Right? And some brought of them that were offered, because you're going to have brothers that pass away in this truth, martyrs. Them was I sick through great fear. So a lot of the times when the prophets would have these revelations, they would get sick. And I awaked and said, Thou hast showed thy servant these wonders from the beginning, and hast counted me worthy that I should receive my prayer. Now we went to that. Go to Isaiah 66. And what we're reading, this is all going to happen. It's future prophecy. We cannot tell you when, but it will happen. Excuse me just a minute. Let's go straight to Isaiah. I was looking for something else, but let's go to Isaiah 60 instead. Go to Isaiah 65 and 16. You know what? Go to another one instead. Isaiah 65, 66, I think it is, and 15. For behold, the Lord Jehovah will come with fire, right? And with his chariots. Key thing. And with his chariots. The fire is them laser beams which the chariots are going to shoot them laser beams with, right? And it said, and he's with his chariots like a whirlwind, right? To render his anger with fury and his rebukes with what? Flames of fire. So that's what Yahushua's coming with. Fury and flames of fire, right? And while that happens, we want to be deemed as acceptable to him, right? Verse 16, for by fire and by his sword, we already went into what the sword is, the extension of what Yahushua is going to speak. Will the Lord Yahushua plead with all flesh? Plead means judge. And when you go into that word, judge is shapat in the Hebrew. So all flesh is going to be judged. And at last, World War III, Armageddon. Where's that region? What's it called? It's called Jehoshaphat. It's actually called Yahweh-Shapat in the Hebrew, which is known as the Valley of Judgment. So the final World War III of Armageddon is going to be in where? The Middle East, right? They call it Yahweh-Shapat. Some call it the Valley of Kidron. Some call it the Valley of Decision. That's where there's going to be that final World War. That final World War is going to be in the Valley of Kidron. That's where that World War is going to be. Okay? And it says, and the slain of the Lord Jehovah shall be many. Many. That's why we want to be deemed as acceptable unto Yahweh by Hashem, Yahweh Shai. Right? And make sure we're doing the right things. Okay? So is there anything else? I think that was pretty much it. So we went into the technology side of the beast, its infrastructure, right? And all that, how it's all set up. That's all being set up around you, right? And the only way you can escape that is by, well, really, you have to remove all your smart devices, chuck away your phone, right? Rip up your chip, And that's the only way. That's the only way. But what's it going to be for like the elect? The elect are going to just have faith. Ain't no saying what's going to happen. But look, Yahweh's going to make a way. But it's going to be hard. You're not going to be able to go into the stores, your local supermarkets, and buy any food, because for you to enter that supermarket, they'll say, well, where's your scanning? You ain't scanned your hand, right? So this is what type of thing's going to happen, right? You ain't got that scanning, you can't enter. So it's going to be a very, very time of dire straits, very dire straits, all right? And then at that time, we're really going to see who's useless and who's not. We're really going to see in that time, all right? Because the elect, they're going to be precious. What's going to make them precious is faith, right? And without faith, it is impossible to please Yahweh by Sham Yahweh Shai, right? Because that's going to be the main commodity. That's going to be the main rich. Because something that there's less of, the price goes up of it, right? So yeah, the price is going to go up of food as well. So soon it's going to be £5 for a loaf of bread. Because anything there's less of, the price of it skyrockets. But there's going to be what? Less faith. So that means that's going to be a commodity for you to have faith, right? And in that time, we're already going to see who's useless. We're going to see if your Mercedes, your BMW, your tinted out Vauxhall, we're going to see if that saves you in that time, right? We're going to see if it saves you. But that's why we have to have faith, right? And that begins now, okay? And continue trusting Yahweh Shai, and don't be discouraged by the devil, because the devil's just doing what the devil does. The devil's whole aim is to discourage, right? But he needs to do this because the devil knows he has a short time. Okay, so let's continue fighting for Yahweh Shai, and until the next time, Shalom to the hopeful elect. Shalom.